4th anniversary on TV trash, and yeah, this year I'm not so happy, joy about everything. As my longtime viewers are aware, since my first ever review in February 2010 was of the god-awful animated show Stripperella, I have commemorated it each year by reviewing either another Pamela Anderson show or something else from that infamous block of Spike TV animation. And yeah, it's finally time to review what may be the most infamous of the latter. It may surprise some of you, given that they originated from my generation, that I never really got into the original Nicktoons. But it shouldn't surprise anyone that knows me that the one of those shows I cared the absolute least about was Ren and Stimpy. This was the show that was among the more infamous to come out of the early 90s and spawned a bunch of other cartoons that focused on really immature humor that just never interested me. The Ren and Stimpy show was the creation of John Cristoforetti, and you know, I'm just gonna call him John K from now on to avoid fracking up that name. The show was about a rude, hyperactive Chihuahua dog named Ren and a simple-minded cat of some type named Stimpy and their Looney Tunes-style adventures that really pushed the boundaries with a lot of sophomoric toilet humor as much as they could get away with. The show obviously drew a whirlwind of controversy for its material, which led to some episodes not even being allowed to air, and it ultimately led to Nick letting John K go after the first season in their attempt to make the show lighter in tone. Normally, even if I don't like a show, I will still defend its creators against being meddled with by network brass, but this may be an exception because John K appears to have built a reputation for being an asshat to work with. Billy West, who originally voiced Stimpy and then also Ren once John K left, was so fed up with the creator that he has vowed to never work for him again. Given that West went on to play Philip Fry in Futurama, I'd say that decision didn't hurt his career. Either way, despite the supposed drop in quality with John K's departure, the show still managed to last on Nickelodeon until about 1995. Fast forward nearly 2 decades, and we have Viacom relaunching again what had originally been the Nashville Network turned into the National Network, and now making it Spike TV. With the staple of the revamped network, other than Monday Night Raw, which they had at the time, being that block of animated shows aimed at adults. In addition to Stripperella and Gary the Rat, they coaxed John K to return and relaunch his old show, this time with even more risque content that could be shown to an adult audience. And by that, they meant for grown-ups who had less maturity and intelligence than an Adam Sandler character. And thanks to whoever this mystery ass clown that keeps sending me crap is, I finally have the episodes to this thing. So let's just get this over with. This is the Ren and Stimpy Adult Party Cartoon. I should preface this with a warning that no, I didn't watch any of the first series in preparation of this review, since there is only so much torture I can take. Besides, even though this is clearly aimed at people who watched the original as kids, one would hope they would produce this new show in a way that it can draw in those that never saw the first, showing a new audience what all the hype is about.
What did I just tell you? Who's the pitcher? Who's the catcher?
You're the pitcher, I'm the catcher. You're the pitcher, I'm the catcher.
My What the hell is that?
So, the thing here in this episode is that Ren and Stimpy are now a gay couple, and they live in a hobo's mouth, and I don't think there's a drug in existence they could have taken that would have made anyone think that was a good idea! So I think the story of the first episode is some kind of parody on trying to move up in the world, as it has the two moving out of the hobo's mouth and upgrading to a spittoon in a seedy bar. George Jefferson would be so proud. The rest of the episode involves nothing but the two living off of the excrement that the bar patrons shoot into their home.
Finally, we lived the high life.
What's the next course, Ren?
Huh?
Whoa.
Who am I kidding? A barf dumpster wouldn't be big enough.
Stimpy.
Why did I have to watch this thing just as spring training is getting underway? Until the patrons discover the two and kick them out, forcing them to move back into the hobo. Just how much of a coma is that guy in? Oh, and the next episode? Nothing connected to the previous one whatsoever. Yep, now Ren and Stimpy live in their own house. This one apparently involves Ren realizing what horrible things he does to Stimpy, so he looks to get help. Seriously, the joke is that's all they ever say. And the session with this horse turns into this flashback of how when Ren was a kid, he loved to torture and abuse this frog, and the frog just wanted Ren to kill him to get rid of the pain, and therefore Ren refused to do it?
You need to be locked up, away from decent, normal people. What kind of a lunatic are you? Do you just walk up to strangers on the street and tell them, "Hey, mister, you want to hear some sick stories of my twisted youth?"
That horse has now become my favorite character in the series. And then Ren goes nuts and beats the horse to death. Doctors come in and haul him off to the loony bin. And then the frog just shows up from out of nowhere and kills himself. And that's right, Doctor. You're gonna need a straitjacket and maybe a cow prod to bring this one in. The guy's name is Chris Falusi. K-R-I-C. No, I'm not talking about the Duke basketball coach. No, don't hang up on me! The future and decency of American animation is at stake here! I'm a respected internet critic! I have credibility! It's pretty clear that John K's inspiration was all the wacky, off-the-wall theatrical cartoon shorts made by the likes of Bob Clampett and Tex Avery. The difference is, those guys knew how to create characters that actually had energy and good charisma, and even among the insanity of each cartoon was a coherent plot. Oh, and you know what else? Those shorts were funny! Now, I could just keep ranting about the toilet humor in this series, but that would make for a very monotonous review. However, there are other issues wrong with this show. The stories, if they can even be called that, appear to have been made for a traditional 7 to 10 minute animated short. But each one has been stretched out to last one whole episode. So even within a half-hour show, the episodes drag. As far as the increasingly more vulgar content in this show and the pacing, I really am not sure who to blame for this. I've heard mixed accusations on the trove of reliable information that is the internet, with some saying John K. was putting it all in himself in retaliation for what Nick wouldn't let him get away with, and others saying that Spike TV forced all of it on him. John K. himself has claimed that it wasn't his fault, but whether or not he's just covering his ass, I can't say. Either way, the problem remains the same. Whoever wanted it was looking for this series to show all the stuff the kids of the 90s wanted to see, but that Nick wouldn't let them do. But there's something they don't take into account. People grow up! And usually when they do that, they realize that simply making jokes about bodily fluids and functions in of themselves is not that funny. However, if the studio was the one demanding the raunchier content, well, then that kinda makes them hypocrites because of the episodes that never aired in the US. There are officially 7 episodes of the second series, including one that does have 2 shorts, but it was actually produced with the first series and Nick refused to air it entirely. Of the 6 new episodes that were created for this series, only 3 of them were aired in America. The last one that apparently aired here was Fire Dogs 2, which was apparently a sequel to an episode of the first series where Ren and Stimpy disguised themselves as Dalmatians to join the fire department. So the new episode first repeated the original short, followed by a new episode that continues the story where the fire chief transforms into Ralph Bakshi. Yeah, this is supposedly because the character was originally a tribute to Bakshi, who was John K.'s idol. John, if you wanted to honor him, you shouldn't have used Cool World as your reference. And the episode was sandwiched in with these live action shots of a Honeymooners parody that starred the actual Bakshi. And get this, the DVD release, yes, this thing has been released on DVD, includes an extended version of the Part 2 story that involved a lot of poop jokes and the 2 main characters having to dispose of that stuff while Bakshi gets laid. And John says this episode was practically a documentary from when he lived with Bakshi as his protege. And suddenly the guy's insanity makes perfect sense. No matter what, nothing could save this series, as the full Spike animation block was put on hiatus after that 3rd episode. I would make a joke about it lasting even shorter than Wonder Falls, but I know why it did. Still, the remaining 3 episodes that were produced did air on other networks overseas. The actual finale to the series? It was an episode that suggests Stimpy is pregnant. How do they explain it? Oh, they have a way. The problem is I can't show it to you on video. Suffice it to say, it's a combination of this.
You think this is beautiful?
With this.
Time for your colon surgery, and we're gonna get to that blockage, there's no doubt about that.
And it's a fitting metaphor for the entire Ren and Stimpy adult party cartoon, which is completely full of crap! This cartoon will eliminate your faith in humanity! I admit bias because I never liked the original, but even fans of the first series have pretty much nothing good to say about it! The animation is atrocious, the pacing is slower than a snail race, nothing is funny, and saying the whole thing is a case of the creators mailing it in would be an insult to the likes of Masked Rider and Battletoads! This was beyond any doubt the worst of the Spike TV adult cartoons. Stripperella and Gary the Rat may have failed in comedy they were trying to do, but at least you could see what they were trying. There was no reason for this thing to get made, and it does not surprise me in the least that John K. has never been able to create his own show since this. And I, for one, am absolutely fed up with all of this. I know you're out there, whoever it is, that's been sending me this garbage for the past few months, and I am demanding that you show yourself now! Professor Stupidiot? Surprised to see me, Rowdy the Reviewer? Surprised that it was me behind this the whole time? Well, more disappointed than anything else. I mean, my smart money would have been on Diamanda being the one. Oh, shut up! You know, you have never respected me for the evil genius that I am! You once tried to take over the Federal Reserve with an army of monkeys armed with super soakers. That was totally not my fault! UPS screwed up the Uzis I ordered! But it matters little now, for I have slowly, gradually been draining your drive and willpower through all these horrible shows I've been sending upon you! And when you finally become the broken, bitter shell of a man, that is when neither you nor your ninja cat will be able to stop me from using my death ray of doom to conquer the entire Metroplex! The cats have already broken into my lab and are sabotaging the death ray of doom right now, right? You should be hearing the explosion in about 3, 2... Curse you, ninja cats! Well, at least I shall still have my revenge on you, Rowdy the Reviewer! Oh yes, I have saved the absolute best, or should I say the absolute worst, for very last! Behold, the worst animated show ever made!